Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are. Welcome. My name is Jeff Fritz. This is my stream. I like to call it Fritz and Friends, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. Today is January 4th, 2019. I'm wearing my Eagles Super Bowl champions hat. Yeah, because my team made the playoffs. They made the American football playoffs here in the NFL in the States. They play this weekend. They didn't come in dominating the league this year quite like they did last year when they won it all. All right, Chiefs fans. I see Kansas City fans there. Good. They're on the other side of the bracket. That's fine. We're going to be playing Chicago this weekend. Those always tough Chicago Bears, and we're looking forward to that match. Is that Kunmetsu? Welcome. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. I had a little bit of a scare this morning. Part of the reason why I was a little bit late starting, I had to pick up my daughters and take them from one place to another here. And while I was traveling, I got out of the car, dropped my phone. Fortunately, my phone's in a really good case. The phone didn't crack or anything, but it went black and didn't start up or anything. iPhone 7 just not starting, plugged it in, nothing. Oh boy, what happened? Did I break my phone? What did I do? Screen's fine, case is fine. A little bit of a dings on the case that the phone was in, but everything looks okay. And I did a hard reset on the phone, held down the volume down button and the power button at the same time. Reset and it works fine, but it's those 5-10 minutes while you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, what happened to my phone? It's like terrified, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to scream. So annoyed. Let's say hello to everybody who's here. Hey, Silverlight 1042, Rambling Geek, Perry at Digital Ox is here. Good morning. Coded Beard, good afternoon. Lannon, hey, how's it going? Eckert is here. Aspiring DevOps Guru, good morning. Sequel Mr. Magoo, hello. An Ancient Coder, good day. Old Dev Guy, always tilted. Yeah, those Chiefs. Ancient Coder again. Let's see here. GG Feds, good morning. Good afternoon, Shy Sharp. And afternoon, DNet78, Vasselware. I love code with a big smiley face. How's it going? I love code. Welcome. And is that Pimplechek? Pimplechek? Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. And Sumnayano. Hey, how's it going? All right. Let's do this. I'm going to get some music playing here in the background. This is music to code by from our friend Carl Franklin. This was originally called Chartreuse. There we go. And I said your name perfectly. Ha ha! Look at that. Hanging around with some of those Polish folks when I was growing up paid off. All right. And there's a Nowitzki around here somewhere too. So this is music from our friend Carl Franklin called Music to Code By. It's designed, it's scientifically engineered to get you focused, to get you in the flow so you can let all those other worries melt away and you could focus on whatever task it is you might have, whether it's code or homework or yard work, whatever it might be. And it's really good. It's about 25 minutes long, the same length as a Pomodoro if you use the Pomodoro technique. Listen to one track of the music, and then spend 5 minutes relaxing, doing something else, and then play the track again. Focus on whatever your task might be. Thanks so much, Carl. We really appreciate you allowing us to use your music here on the stream. I gotta say that each time so that the licensing wonks don't come after me, wherever they might be. All right. So make sure you check it out. If you're interested in hearing more of this music, and you can get 3 songs free at musictoflowby.com. All right. Hey, Welsh Ronaldo, good to see you. And Always Tilted says, the Pomodoro technique, the only thing preventing me from being homeless at this point. Well, I hope you got a good job to go along with that. So there we are. We're up and running. Let me wander over here. We spent some time yesterday. Oh, I've still got Camtasia open. I was working on I was working on some new things for the stream here. Let me close that. Yeah, sure, save that. And I've got to save this. I'm working on some updated animations. You should see them in the next little bit here. So the scare was I dropped my phone and it wouldn't turn back on, which is annoying to say the least, let me tell you. We don't need Storage Explorer today. All right. So I wanted to talk about... I don't think we got any new questions asked. So I'm going to... excuse me. I'm going to start off looking at what questions we might have hanging out there in the Ask Me Anything areas over on the live stream repository. Here we go. So some of these take a little bit more of a demo or something like that to get through and actually discuss. But and we've already put together some architecture and class diagrams. Completed. I think we have those. So we don't need that anymore. Let's see what else we can clean up here as far as questions before we can get into a little bit of the project today. Deeper dive on identity authorization. I can do that. ASP.NET boilerplate bringing in guest. I'm going to turn this one down. I don't think we need, but that's a little bit older technology and we don't need that anymore. I've already got this taken care of. Don't need an outro music. I've already got music. I purchased some of that. PowerShell we still want to do. I think we did this, a container stream showing the various ASP nets. Yeah, never fun when you drop your phone here. JavaScript services and extending it. I don't know if that's really a thing anymore. This should be moved over to our configuration builders project. Can I move this? Yes, transfer issue. And so I have a project called configuration builders that works for, there it is, that works with .NET 4.71 and later. Allows you to import features, allows you to import configuration from other places. So I have an RSS configuration builder here that allow you to publish to an RSS feed configuration options, and then you can set your projects, your applications, to import settings from that RSS feed. Docker with databases. This might be fun to take a look at. I've been using SQLite to build a database and seed it, but it's possible to use Microsoft SQL Server for Linux. What about properly seeding that database ahead of time and then using that? This might be fun to talk about. What do you think if we talk about database and Docker for about 15-20 minutes here? How you doing? Chat room, you still there? You with me? Don't fall asleep on me. Go Postgres? We can go Postgres. I think that's fine, so serious. Jokus Jingis. Thanks so much for the subscription. I appreciate that kind subscription there. And we'll match that subscription and make a donation to Black Girls Code here in the month of January. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, love the database topic. All right. So let's talk about this for a little bit. I've said Docker enough times. Robert Table should be around here shortly. I don't see him. We haven't quite Beetlejuiced him yet, right? I used that term with someone. They summoned me into their stream yesterday. Was it Chris? CMS Chris Jones? Yeah, Little Bobby Tables. Yeah, it was Chris. They were talking about me in his stream, and somebody dropped me a line. I think it might have been Andre dropped me a line on Discord. And I happened to be free, and I just popped in for a moment and said hello. So they call that summoning into a stream. They call that Beetlejuicing, just like the movie Beetlejuice. Hey, Svava, good to see you. So, yeah. Been having an angry Docker day myself. Core 2.2 dropping the server 2016, its containers. I'm not quite sure I follow Coded Beard. And yes, Svava, you have confused the bot. I don't want to talk specifically about SQL Server here, but let's talk a little bit about Docker and database for testing, for seeding. Let me close a couple of these things that we don't need right now. Don't need Adobe. Yeah, we'll leave that running. There's Docker. So Docker is running. Let me grab a Postgres database. Hub, Docker, and then I think it's R? Postgres? Do I have that right? Nope. Rats. There it is. The Postgres Object Relational Database System provides blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is the one I want. All right. JavaScript services are still a thing, part of the SPA templates, for example. All right. Maybe we'll come back and talk about that then in the future. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that in a future Ask Me Anything. Long-term support isn't very long-term with Docker, it would appear. Server 2016 is still supported, but they have stopped publishing containers for it. Can only get the 1703 and later versions with 2.2. Server being supported and having an image combination available are two different things. Nothing's keeping you from writing an image that merges the two, right? Server 2016 images are out there, and you can certainly use the same techniques that are in the 2.2 images and build your own image based off of that. It won't be the official Microsoft image, but yeah, you can always put that together because the documentation for what makes up a Docker image is always available. So let's talk about that. Let me open, I'll use PowerShell here. Come on, PowerShell. Thank you. Right, for those of you who haven't done containers, I'm going to go over to my dev, clear that. Right, containers are a virtualized application that kind of sits inside of its own very constrained memory space, right? It acts and feels like it's another machine, but it's deployable. You can deploy these. They're packaged up and they're versioned, and they're also configured using a Docker file. So what you're able to do then is take things like a database or an application, stick it inside the container, and then you can launch it and run it from anywhere as long as you can run Docker. So there's a bunch of commands you get just by running the Docker command. You can build a Docker image, and that's kind of like a cookie cutter that you can stamp running containers out of. You start them up. Whereas if you had a full virtual machine, to make copies of a full virtual machine means you have full instances of operating systems and full IP addresses and MAC addresses that you need to finagle appropriately and make sure that they don't overlap each other and that they're unique in your network. And that's a pain in the neck. Docker has all the appropriate server daemons set up to allocate and manage all that interaction. Extremely confused whether it's better to use SQL or NoSQL database. I've noticed AWS promotes their NoSQL database frequently. That's an interesting question, Pimplachek. What I've run into and what I've seen is that NoSQL databases, things like MongoDB or Cassandra, right? They're really big and they're great for folks who don't want to have to take all the maintenance in of maintaining structure and schema for a database like you would in an SQL, a structured query language database, a traditional database like you might see like Postgres or SQL Server or Oracle. Silver Miami, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Use what you feel comfortable with. I agree, Ancient Coder. I think, though, there's a very clear use case scenario to use a SQL database with existing reporting solutions. There are all kinds of reporting capabilities and reporting services that are out there that work great, work phenomenal with a SQL database. If you start to use a NoSQL database, you get a little bit tricky there with how you can do reporting out of it. It becomes a little bit more interesting how you have to normalize and get data lined up schema-wise so the reporting system can work with it. Lannon says, I tend to use SQL when I have a structured amount of data, but NoSQL when I just want to plop down JSON packets in a database. Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. And you'll also find NoSQL databases with that very key value store structure that they have. Extremely fast to search by a key, but if you have to search by anything else, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge. Anything else in that record. So that's where I would draw a line between the two. I think NoSQL storage works phenomenal with an event store if you're doing event storage for your application. I think it works great for CQRS, where you might have an object store that's hanging out there that's been denormalized and is something you want to be able to search very, very quickly. But you also have that authoritative data store, like an event store, on another data storage location that you're able to rebuild that NoSQL store very quickly. Does that mean the app in the container is available if it's just installed on the local PC? So coming back to the containers, it is available. It's something you can connect to. Docker will make an application that you put in the container and you have running. It will set up a little virtual network bridge so that you can connect into it and work with it. Wow, is that Gerzigor's Kotfis? That's a tough one for me to pronounce there. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate the follow. And let me know how to pronounce your name there. I want to make sure that we that when I do recognize you in the chat room, I pronounce it properly. Microsoft SQL database supports JSON in a field, so you can combine them. Yes, and it also supports XML as well. All right. Thanks so much. Can I just call you a Kotfis, or is it? Yeah, help me out with that. But thank you for joining us. So to talk about database inside of a container, let me pull down Postgres. I can see my list of images that I have available by running Docker images. And you can see that the project we've been working on here on Stream Tools, I've been putting inside of a container, and containers are hierarchical, right? One's built on top of another. So this is actually built on top of the Microsoft .NET container. Now, I do have a Postgres container here, but it's about 4 months old. I can refresh. I can get a current version from the Docker Hub. That's where I am at here on Firefox, by running a Docker pull command. And it will attempt to refresh that container for me, get the latest version if there's something new. And there is, and here it's just going to download it for me and make that available. Janescu says, EF Core supports cool tools for SQL Server and other cool SQL with geometry and geolocation. The new Entity Framework Core, Entity Framework Core 3 will support that. Yes. All right, so I have my container image here. Now, it's not actually running. I can see a list of containers that are running by running Docker PS, and it will show me these are the container images that are actually out there running and doing something. And you can see, let me scroll up, make that a little easier to see. My Stream Tools container is running, and it's actually executing a .NET command. This is the command that's running. It's in the background on my machine and generating these numbers that you see here below me here for the follower count and the current viewer count. That's all coming out of a container from the Stream Tools project. And so is the rainbow beard gauge there. We're almost at 4,700. That's pretty cool. As well as all the way up at the top of the screen, our GitHub ticker that shows all the folks that have contributed, sent pull requests to the various projects that we work on here on Stream. EF Core will support JSON soon too. Yes, it will. Coming soon. Always use Postgres for storing that data in the past. Yeah. And folks it's very easy to make a SQL database a NoSQL database by creating a large blob, right? A binary large object field, and putting JSON in there. And you end up then with a key value store that you can optimize and report on using regular reporting mechanisms that you have with SQL databases. Support JSON as the data target? I don't know. I'm not familiar. All right, this is misbehaving. Let me refresh that. Much better. All right. There we go. So the question that Eldorian's looking for here is, well, instead of seeding the database, can we load it up with data ahead of time? Now, this is actually, right, we can actually start building out the structures for a database and save it off so that it's available later. Now, let me see if I remember how to run Postgres. If I remember correctly, there's a couple of arguments you have to pass in here to set what the password is and the database to connect to. And I believe you can also just start running in there. Yeah, here we go. We can connect to it like this. Let's do that. And just get a database running here. So Docker run, it's going to run an instance of our container IT, run it in interactive mode, and allow me to connect a terminal to it. Remove it when we're done. So, and then -- link. I forget what link. Link allows you to link to other instances, right? Let me know if I forget what link does. Chat room, let me know. This is the name. Actually, wait a sec. I don't need all of these. Yeah, link is trying to... Ugh. Hang on, let's get rid of some of this. I'm executing Postgres, connecting to that. This is linking to another database. I don't want to link to another database. Let's just do that. And it should start up the database instance and get me connected with the pSQL command line tool. Let's see. Let's see. A couple questions, couple comments here. I guess VTMR says I should try Docker for my current project to create test databases. I'm working on a project with 2 other people, and each of us has your own local. Yes. So, connection refused. Nuts. I should... I don't think it's a... Hang on. Clear this. I should be able to just run and connect into it. But I have to specify password when I start this thing. You know? I don't want to connect to it. So if we started it like this, just to get it running. Wow. Missed the D. All right, so now it's running. So we named our database instance some Postgres, and we told it the password is my secret password. Don't tell anyone, all right? That's my password.
Wow.
Okay. -D, it's in the background, and the name of the Docker image that we're running is Postgres. So it's running, and it has this hash sitting out there in the background. And when we run a Docker PS, you can see the image is Postgres. And the name of it is some Postgres. Fine. That works for me. So now that's in the background. Now if I try to connect to it with the PSQL, that should connect. And it was my secret password. There, now I'm connected and I'm in. Lannon thinks my password was ******. Oh, rats. Hey, Andre, good to see you. So now I'm running a client attaching to the other container. If I open another terminal here and run Docker PS over here, you see I actually have 2 Postgres instances. And that's okay. So one is the server, some Postgres. The other one I'm running the client in, and I'm actually attached over and looking at it. Right? If I run help here, I can see I'm actually in and using the database. So that's nice. I'm not actually interfering and changing the running state of the server, but I'm actually running and doing things here on the client. That's fine. That's all good and dandy there. No, I'm not going to add any numbers. This is just a sample. I'm not trying to muck with anything here. And I don't need to get all crazy on things. So if I wanted to create a table, right, I could create table, I don't know, products, right? ID, and make that an int, primary key, right? Name, we'll make that a varchar 20, right? Not null. Price USD, and we'll make that a decimal 18.3. Not null. Default 0. All right. And I've got a table. There's my table, right? Select star from products, and I've got nothing in it. So I've got a product table, right? So it's out there, but how do I keep using this thing, right? If I've structured, I've set up my database. Why 18.3 instead of 18.2? Sometimes folks will keep track of half cents. It's weird. It's weird, but you'll see it sometimes in grocery stores. You'll see it in other places. 18.2 is probably fine, but in the petrol stations, gas stations, you'll see sometimes have portions of a cent. So I've always allocated the extra decimal place just to be safe. So that's just me. Your mileage may vary, right? Isn't that what they say?
Oh my.
Yes, oh my, George. So now that that's out there, I've got a products table, right? I've quit, and if I do a Docker PS, right, it got rid of that client instance, but my server is still sitting there. Now, you can do a Docker, I believe it's save one or more images into a tar archive. That's not bad. There's the other one that I'm thinking of is, yeah. So what you could do, right, is if I said Docker save, let me run help on that just to make sure I have this right. Right to a file, yeah. So if I say Docker save, well, let me make a directory here. Let's call this Docker Postgres. Postgres. Cool. So now if I did Docker save, and we called this V1, right? Oh, no. I forgot the -o. I even had the -o. I saw what it was and I didn't do it. Tax calculation reasons. Yeah, there you go, Mr. Magoo. That's another good one. So, why didn't it save? Docker save. I got to give it the name. Some Postgres. Oh, it's only going to save the image. Is that what I wanted? I thought there was a way to save a running. We'll save an image to a tar archive. I thought there was a way to save the state of a current image. Update configuration. No, I don't. I thought save would work like that. Rats. Not gonna do what I thought it did. export a container's file system as a tar archive. You could, no, so there is no snapshot down here, right? That's what I'm looking to do, is create a snapshot. Commit creates a new image from containers. There we go. That'll work. That's, yes. So let's look at Docker commit. I knew there was something that would do this. Apply Docker file instruction to the created image. Commit message pause container during commit. Yeah, we want to do all of that. So Docker commit, options, container, repository tag. So if we say Docker commit, and then the container is some Postgres, right? If I scroll up here, it's not going to show it. Docker PS again. The name of it is, right? Some Postgres. So Docker commit some Postgres. And I thought this was actually going to be the easy way, because there's another way that you can do this. And we need to specify then the name of this. So let's call this my Postgres application 1. Okay. So now if I look at Docker images, I've got too many images. There's my Postgres application 1. This is a snapshot of exactly what's inside that some Postgres, right? So if I remove some Postgres, right, gone. And if we Docker run my Postgres application, let's see. How did it run it before over here? I want to run with the same thing. No, not that way. This way. It's kind of behind me. I forgot the D again. But instead of running instead of running Postgres, if I ran my Postgres application, it was right here. Come on now. My Postgres application. There it goes. Now it's running. Forgot to specify the version. What's cooking? We're talking about running a database and taking a snapshot of that database so it's easier to test, and so that all of our developers on the team have the same instance of everything when they go to work with their test database. So now if I use that same statement to get me logged in and into pSQL, right? So my secret password, make sure I type it all right. And if I show the tables, okay, why didn't it find the tables? I saved it, darn it. That commit should have found it, right? We're in the same database. Why didn't it find it? It's just not there. We created the table. It should have been there when we did the commit. Snapshot to the database. That's what I was thinking of it would do when I did the commit. But I can do the... MySQL has the database save, has the database out, database dump that you can do, and it dumps out all the SQL statements. Isn't there one you can do for Postgres? Divergent Acid, thanks so much for the follow. Right, why didn't it take the snapshot? What I'd like to do is take that snapshot copy and save it. Making progress. We're just taking a look and discussing this question that we had about working with taking a snapshot of a database inside of a Docker container so that everybody on our development team has the same instance of data. What I don't want to do, but what you can do, right? Let me quit out of this. I could make a Docker container that says from Postgres, execute and add in these new, these additional tables and data points, and actually execute the SQL statements during the creation of the Docker container. You can do that. However, yeah, I'm making Postgres. I thought you could take a Docker snapshot and it would keep the structure of the database, keep it saved for us there, but it just didn't save it for me. Johnny Nibbles, thanks so much for the subscription with your Twitch Prime account. I really appreciate that, and we'll, of course, match that and make a donation to Black Girls Code this month. Thanks so much for your support. Yeah, so I'm confused. Why? So, serializable snapshot isolation. No, I want to be able to. I want to dump the SQL. Ow. Fat fingered that one. PG dump. So we could dump it out and then rebuild it. So if I ran that... Oh, gosh. I hate how it keeps jumping on me here. So if I log back in, create the database. My secret password. There we go. Right, and there's nothing here. Create table. Oh my gosh. I'm not typing well at all today. ID int primary key. Name varchar 20, not null. Price USD, and we'll make that decimal 18.3. Let's make it not null. Default 0.00. MJ Eaton, Mike Eaton, thank you so much for that subscription. I appreciate that. With a tier 1, 5 months in a row. Thank you so much for your support. I will match that and we'll make a donation to Black Girls Code this month. Thank you so much. So there's our products table, and it didn't commit. It didn't save it when we ran docker commit. I thought that would do it. I'm just going to do a quick search here and see. Right, it was docker commit, a running container. How to commit changes to a Docker image. Right? No. I don't want to look at Tech Republic. Let's look at the Docker documentation, because this is really going to be the way that we work with it if we were in a development team, right? We would want to save out, commit a container with new command and expose instructions. So do we need to specify the change? Balthazar Brat, thanks so much for the follow. 4,700. Yeah, Chris, we just hit it. 4,700 followers. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate that. Yeah, this isn't going to do what I want. That feels bad. If I ran the dump, right? If I ran a PG dump inside of this and wanted to dump it outside the container, I've got to do things like mapping folders back and forth, and that gets a little tricky too. Yeah, 4,700, closer to 5K, absolutely. Yeah, I thought running a commit would save out the state of the database, and it isn't doing that. Does somebody have an article on that, maybe? YetiMan01, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Docker commit database. Mr. Magoo, thank you. Thanks so much for that kind cheer. We'll match that and make a donation to Black Girls Code. I'm going to record that. That was a 218 from SQL Mr. Magoo, and we will put that into our code that we start working on here in just a little bit when we get on the other side of this AMA. Docker commit database state, right? I want to How to save a Docker container state. Right, I thought you could do the commit and it would save it right out. Yeah, if you run with volumes. So volumes with Docker is a way for you to map a physical storage on your machine, on the host machine, into someplace inside the container. Yeah, so they're creating the volume and mapping it. But I want to be able to archive the contents of it with it. Here's one way, creating a MySQL Docker container that used for data persistence. As in a volume container. I'm not familiar with a volume container. What's a volume container? Untar the backup files into the new container's data volume. So get started from Ubuntu, blah, 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 install MySQL, Docker build, Docker run, and then you end up with MySQL. Fantastic. Update the bind addresses, set the admin user persisting data. Yeah, and it's setting volumes. So a container's volume is what will map that container. It takes the location inside the container and maps it to someplace physical on disk. Wow, the follows. Brittany, thanks so much for the follow. And Hamit, thanks so much for the follow as well. It's essentially a VHD. Yes. Yep. Hey, Fierce Kittens, good to see you. But I thought there was a way with the containers that you could... Yeah. If you're saving things out to a volume, you'll have that persistent location from the container on disk. I thought there was a way with the commit that you could save the state of it, right? You could persist kind of the running state. Create a new image from the container's changes. Apply Docker file instruction. It can be useful to commit a container's file changes or settings to a new image. Yes, this allows you to debug a container by running an interactive shell or export a working data set to another server. Yes, that's what we want to do. Generally, it's better to use Docker files to manage your images. Right. So this is where I was saying, if we dumped out all of the create statements, we can actually execute them from the Docker file. I'll show that interaction in just a second. Commit operation will not include any data contained in volumes mounted inside the container. Well, we didn't mount a volume, so we're okay there. By default, the container being committed and its processes will be paused while the image is committed. That's fine. This reduces the likelihood of encountering data corruption during the process of creating the commit. That should be fine too. So Docker inspect, Docker commit, change, and then specified the name of it. That's what we did, and then we did not get the data saved. Yeah. Now, if we save things out onto a volume, no big deal. You can just map and reload from there. But this create table statement, the way that I would typically build things is I would create some sort of a file out here, right? That had here's the structure to build my database, and load that up each time and maintain a Docker file that loads up the correct instance of things. So I might create something here, products db.sql. Yep. And I'll do something, right? I'll do those exact same create table commands that were over here, except get rid of this and that and that and this one. So I've got my create statement. I think this explains the problem. What do you have there for me, Yeti? Convention, what was in your stream when he was on a ranch? Bad signal. Now at your work with bad broadband. Yeah, I was at saving database state. Oh, okay. Docker stop, Docker commit. Oh, crumbs. So they're running a volume. When you run a container, Docker puts a writable file system layer on top of the image layers for that container. If you make any changes and commit the container to a new image, the change you made will be persisted in the new image. But Postgres image stores database files in a volume, not in a writable layer. Aha! So when you alter database data, then it's outside of the container's writable layer and the changes don't get persisted. So this is specific to Postgres. This would have worked if I was using MySQL or perhaps SQL Server. If you did this instead, Docker run name, touch new text, Docker commit, then Docker new image will have the new file because it was added to the container's file system, not to a volume. Aha. Hey, Brave Cobra. Good to see you. Okay. So here they're saying put the Postgres data somewhere else. Well, there you go. All right. Hey, Robert Tables. Yes, we're talking about Docker for just a little bit here. And so specific to Postgres, this is putting stuff in the wrong place for it to be persisted using a Docker commit. Interesting. Anything written to varlib Postgres data disappears when I stop the container, but if it seems the volume command in Docker file is equivalent to Docker run p name devdb, and then pushing it somewhere else. Whiteland 92. Thanks so much for that cheer. I appreciate the cheer. Welcome. Yeah, Bobby Tables. Absolutely. Can't watch for a long time. That's okay, Sonner. I appreciate you joining us. Shame it's not MySQL. Yeah, MySQL's a little bit easier to go through with this, but this looks like it's specific to the Postgres implementation. If I grabbed... I could try and do this with MySQL, but I'm about out of time here for what I wanted to show. But what I could show you, though, is if I did make a Docker file here, right? Do I have to make it all capital? Yes, create a new one. If I said from Postgres, right, I can actually make as part of this before it gets started, I can say exec and actually execute the Postgres statement, right? I can actually execute productsdb.sql. Right, it's, what is it, PSQL. And then I need to pass in the attribute. What's the attribute to get the environment variable? Right, Docker file, capture environment variable. And actually, if we look at this Postgres instance, we should be able to see the source code for this. Right, there should be a link to the source code for this Docker image. Wow, this is really long. Where it is, it's more than 10 million downloads and installs. I don't want to copy that. So there's all the tags. Rats. There used to be a link to the source code repository. Where to file issues. Published image artifact details. There we go. Source of this description. Supported Docker versions. Yeah, let's go here. Gathered from this. Inspected. I'm not sure what the difference between these two. I'm looking for... Let me just grab one of these. Wow. That's a lot of configuration. And there's where it executes and is actually running the database. So what I should be able to do, right, when it starts this, it should be setting the variable for the password. I want to be able to log in with that same password and execute. Right? Where is it? Postgres. PG data, make PG data, and see it's passing the variable name along. Where did it go? I feel like it's hanging off the side here. Nope, it's not there. There's a... come on. These are all the markdowns, right? Where's the actual... Is it under the images? Is the Docker file here? No, that's to build these things. At the top of the page were links under Docker file links on the Docker Hub page. Let's go back to that. Where do you see links? Quick reference, this, right? Official images PRs with labels. Ooh. I don't want the pull requests. Let's now. Come on. What do we got? Come on. No, this is Docker library. This isn't Postgres. Click one of the tags way up top. All right. Oh, 11 Docker file. Oh my gosh. Thank you. How did I miss that? All right. So user adds Postgres, right? Set, and it's configuring all the stuff so that it can install Postgres. Install, Docker file entry point, key for the Postgres Debian repository, PG version, all these environment variables, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for that password. Nope. Where does it pass that in? Because somewhere it runs and says, here's the password that you should use to build the Postgres database. PG data. Yeah, I don't see it here. Yeah, Postgres password. Nope. Right, because when you run this, you need to set an environment variable, Postgres underscore password. So if I skip forward, right, Postgres underscore doesn't exist inside this file, which is weird. Which means that it's picking it up somewhere else. Is it inside of Docker entry point, maybe? Right, that's being copied in here. Let's go up here. Is there... PG data, Postgres initdb. Watch, it's in here. There it is, Postgres password. Okay, so that same environment variable is going to be made available. So I can actually execute that. Otherwise, defaults to no password. Yes and no. Are we building our own Postgres container? I'm putting a layer on top of it that has a SQL statement to execute. So what I should be able to do is pass in user and password and the database name inside of my statement here. I want to exec PSQL, and I want to pass in, I don't need to pass in the host because it's local. The user is going to be $Postgres underscore user. And then the password is $Postgres underscore password. and then I want to pass in my case, where'd it go? I was over here. I created products DB SQL, right? Products DB SQL. And then that should load up, right? The contents of that SQL statement into the database. So it'll connect, it'll run any statement that I pass into it. So if I pass in products DB, it'll kick that off. So if I build this, I'll have an image that will always have that same set of contents that are inside of here. So more than just create table, I could also throw in there insert statements, different data that I want to seed, and then I can circulate that Docker image so that other folks on my team have the exact same contents. Do you need to copy the SQL file into the container first? You're probably right. Which, right, looks weird to say copy products DB SQL. If I just do a dot, it'll just copy it to the local folder. So it's just available right there. It's annoying it named it dockerfile.txt. That's better. But you should be able, at this point then, right, you'll have that Docker container created, it has your data loaded, and then you'll be able to share it around. Should be a mounted volume so you can update it without rebuilding. Cyralash, that's actually the opposite of what we're trying to do in this instance. In this instance, we're trying to seed a test database that you can always use and share with your colleagues so that it always has the same state. So that you can knock it down and always start it up and it's loaded with the exact same things. If you did a mounted volume, then it would be saved off and you'd have those settings hang around and lurk somewhere off disk somewhere that you wouldn't be able to reset to very easily. So what we're trying to do is have that reset ability. Is that a word? I think that's a word. We'll make that a word. We want it to be able to reset and restart where we were. So this is what I would do, is I would generate my SQL statements. And you can do that in Entity Framework for our .NET folks. You can create it. Immutability, that's a good word, Steve. Thank you. We want to, right? If the database, if you destroy a table, if you alter it so that it doesn't work any longer with your application, so what? Knock it down, start up a new instance of the container, and you'll have it running. I'm going to mark this as answered on, right, today's the 4th, on January 4, 2019. All right. Cool. So I wasn't expecting to run into some of those issues, and it's interesting. I didn't know that Postgres ran that way, where it has an extra layer there, because I knew that MySQL did write to the local database, the local file system, and you could modify that and change things around. I want to go back over to our Stream Tools project for our project today, and I want to talk about the live coding and code suggestions features that we've been building for this. And this is something that's going to enable you in the chat room to send code to my instance of Visual Studio. Now, our friend Brian Clark has been working on a similar extension for Visual Studio Code. What his does is it allows you to highlight lines of code in Visual Studio Code with the line command. That's not bad. That's allows you to call attention to something if you want to comment on it, and that's nice. That achieves a certain bit of functionality. But what we've been working on in this Stream Tools project is the ability to actually but get code in front of me. I'm going to remove this extra container that we have here, A9. Bye-bye. Okay. Clear. Let me go into this project. There we go. So I'm inside of a branch called Code Suggestion. And this really speaks towards the ability for you to suggest code to me or whoever else might be running this. Right now, the project is running inside the container. We should be able to run this. So I'm going to start a new instance of the web server that's going to listen and has the bot that's actually listening to the chat room here. So I'm going to go down into, there. And I'm going to .NET run inside this location so that the project is up and running. The server's listening. Hey, Fretya, good to see you. Those are some new errors that I wasn't expecting. There we go. Launch settings. Good. Good. Come on. There we go. Now it's listening. And we can actually take a look at the live coding feature here. I'm going to run with Visual Studio Enterprise 2017 and let it connect into that. So live coding 2, the highlighted project you see up here, this is the project that has my Visual Studio extension. So let me start that. And it will connect to our service here and then connect out to Twitch. And it should start listening. Unless, of course, I've got build errors. What do we got here? It's not empty, it's null. But it always is null. I think I've gone too far. We're actually in a for loop here, aren't we? What am I doing here? Locate project. The project equals null. Let's start this and see what happens here. I've come in the middle of something here. Highlighting lines of code. I did see, yes. Yep, just mentioned it. And I actually go a little bit further. So, and I think there's opportunities here for additional commands and things that you might be able to do, because Visual Studio has a little bit extra capabilities here that we can interact with. Yeah, right. We might be able to drop bookmarks. We might be able to drop all kinds of things. And why isn't this running? Come on, Visual Studio. There we go. So, this is listening for a exclamation point code command in the chat room. And we'll see Visual Studio start up and get connected. There it comes. And we'll get output here in the output window logged as it gets all connected to everything. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. It should be. Why so slow? Hello? Let me open my sample project here that we've been tinkering with. We should see it start loading here. Okay. Show output from LiveShare. Good. LiveShare's getting connected. Here's Code Suggestions is our extension. It's now connected to the chatbot service. Good. So now, if we get a suggestion, let's see. Program, CS, give me a line number, then private, string, bar. So that command popped into code here. So you see the command that I keyed into the chat room over there, and you see it popped into my error list with a new code suggestion. If I click that, so here's the part that we left off on, is trying to locate the project, locate program CS, right? Locate not just the project, but the file, and get that highlighted. We had it working, but we started introducing some new scenarios here. So let me come back over here. Let me jump back in to this project and see if we can figure out what went wrong, what we need to fix here so we can get this working properly. I'm going to set a breakpoint right here. I know this isn't correct. Actually, I think this might have been recursive. So tell you what, can somebody in the chat room send me over another code suggestion command with that bang code option, and we will take a look here and see what we can do. How do you handle conflicts where multiple instances of the file name exists? Exactly, Cyralash. So there's going to be options where we're going to push back information to say which file are you referring to. So the project right now is null. It has the solution. We have the DTE. Good. The project name, we don't know what the project name is, but we're looking for, right? We're looking for that program CS. So we're going to look at the projects. The project equals this one. So we're going to find files inside that project. Okay. So find files, we're looking for, so project items, if project item is null, blah, 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 blah. Oh, crumbs. File counter, and we're stepping through here. So we're looking at this object, which is a com object. Does it have items? No. Okay. Does this object's name equal that file name, program CS? Yes, it does. Okay. Get the project of the unique name, the full path. Okay, so it's cdev console app 1. Good, we've located that. Add that to our out list. All right, so I'm going to shift F11 and step out here. So I have one file, and that's that program CS. Cool. Right, am I back in? Where am I at? There's so much code here. Ugh. Ugh. Let me step out. Okay, so we just finished finding the files in that one project. If we didn't find a file, throw project file not found. If we have more than one file, throw new multiple files. And then this is where Cyralash, we would go find that other file. Did we? Oh, we found two files called program. Aha. Oh. Okay. So right now I catch and don't do anything. Write the pane out. New code suggestion. Okay. So I'm going to let that go through. So I've actually created that extra scenario where I've got the program listed here twice. If we got a suggestion to go into bar CS. Missing the stream, trying to watch from work. That's okay. So here, bar CS. It does identify the project and the file. So I am handling it properly if there is only one file with that name. But you can see program CS, to exactly Cyralash's point, how do we handle if there's multiple files with the same name? But I can click on this one where it does have one name, and it says, here's your new code suggestion, private string bar. Now, what I'd like to be able to do to finish things up here for this, for the basic functionality, when it is able to identify this, and I still need to finish this identification bit. I want to be able to actually copy that code directly in here, or have that code appear and commented out, right? So that's the final piece to build here. But we're already down, what do you think, chat room? I'm already down this path of reconciling when there's multiple files. We've identified that there's multiple files. I feel like I want to maintain the I want to maintain the state of the communication, right? When we raise this issue that multiple files were identified, I'm going to bounce out of this locate project method, right? And I'm going to catch, and I'm over here, and I want to do something. I want to notify you, oh, there's multiple files here that exist with that same name. Which one are you referring to? And be able to address that. You think I should walk down and do this whisper interaction first? What do you think? Kevin, did I miss acknowledging Kevin Downs? Thanks so much for the follow-up. I think I missed acknowledging that. I appreciate you joining us. Just whisper more than one file match is not currently supported. You know what? That's probably not bad for an initial MVP handling of this. Let me do that for right now. So I'll add an extra catch statement here. Right, multiple files found exception. I've got an extra. Yeah, there we go. So how do I send that message now back to the chatbot to send? What did I say to trigger automod? You said something to trigger automod? Just looking here, I don't see anything in the auto mod. Oh. Does whispering work via IRC? No, you're... Oh, it thinks you swore. So what I need to do is I need to send the message back to the server so that the server can send the message because the server owns the bot. It didn't like the word hit. Hit miss. That's weird. Right, I'll need a... You're right, Mr. Magoo. I'm going to need a method on the bot on that hub. I think it's here, right? So this is the follower hub that we're connecting to that right now is also passing that information. If we look at the page that we set up for this, code suggestions, right? This is connecting to and passing in, it's listening for code suggestions. So if I go back, even though it's called Follower Hub, and we should probably rename this at some point, SignalR is two-way. Not only do we push out, but we can also listen for a message. We can listen for a command and act on that. Right now, we're doing things to update and send information out to folks. Right, so we have... oh, gosh. Let me go back to the bot. The bot has... Where is it? Code suggestion, and there's the live code command here. And... oh, boy. This is a little complicated. There's a manager that adds suggestions, that has those code suggestions. It invokes it, raises an event that a suggestion was added. And that gets picked up and used. Let me shift F12, see where that's used. There you go. So here we are in the hub. The code suggestion manager, when a suggestion is added, it notifies all the clients that there's code suggestions. So, what... I'll need a code highlighter is working. What code highlighter? So where I need to go is I need to add here to the hub that we're listening to. I need the ability to send a command to this. Okay. At some point, I'm probably going to need to authenticate it too. Okay. So if I'm sending a command, right, and we're going to whisper to a specific person. So let's say whisper to user, string username, string message. And now I need to put that somewhere that the chatbot can pick it up and go. And send that message out appropriately. Ooh. Okay. So the live code command had a configurations manager instance. And that's the, I'm sorry, code suggestions manager. So there's a singleton of this that's being managed. Wow. All right. Before I go too much further, in the follower hub, as I build this whisper to user, I'm going to copy in our 2 cheers that I haven't allocated yet. Okay. And we do have a, what's it called? An attribute for these. I need to get to implementing that and start using it, carrying it around. We'll get there. We'll get there. So I need to have a queue of things to whisper back to specific users for the bot. That's interesting, isn't it? Right, if I want to be able to send things from outside the bot into it and say, you need to whisper this, we need a queue over there for it to manage. Code Suggestions Manager, this is sitting inside of chatbot commands. It's right here. Do I put a whisper queue in here as well? And let it get managed? I think so. Does it have to be a whisper? I guess not. No, I guess not. It could be a public message. But the suggestion was a whisper. That's the only reason why I'm going down that train of thought. Right? I mean, can I actually just access the bot directly and tell it do this? I would have to get the instance of the bot and pass it along. Could it print a liter? Stop it, Mr. Magoo. What if... I'm just trying to think. Where do we put this queue that we want the bot to pull off of and send messages back? Let me collapse this. It's a little bit too much for me to see. Right, because when somebody issues like the help command, right, when it executes, it says send message asynchronously across the chat service. And the bot knows how to interact and pass that along. Interesting. I will, Shia LaBeouf. I will. Let me think. So what if... I don't want to be passed an instance of the bot, because then we're holding on to an instance of the bot here in the SignalR hub, and that wouldn't be good. It could be similar to the send message method. Yes. Yes, I'm calling the same method. I need to provide that API somewhere so that the Visual Studio extension can call into the bot and send that message. So, right, the bot does expose the ability to send a message. Actually, the bot doesn't. The chat service does. That the bot is sitting on top of. We wanted to ask a follow-up question. Yes. Yes. That's why I think a whisper is more appropriate here, is to ask that follow-up question. Is the bot a client of the hub? It is not. But that's an interesting approach. The bot is not a client of the hub, right? Because it's in the same memory space. Yeah. Let's do... If I put a static method on here to send a whisper on the bot, I do need to tell it, though, which chat service it came from. If it was, I could message it through the hub. Yes. Yeah, undocumented code. I know. I know. Fierce kittens. This is all on me, that it's not that documented.
And you blew
Documented.
it.
And I blew it, Robert De Niro. Oh, it's a rant about work. Well, okay. Rant away. Yes, undocumented code is a pain. But this is a very strange and complex set of interactions here. It's all in video. It's all documented. It's all right here. Hey, MSK 2016. Welcome. See, I don't know what service name they came from when I'm coming back from Visual Studio. Code of God is all well documented. Any method has to comment. For example, starts a program with arguments. That's a terrible document. Let's see. Okay, we have multiple chat services that this attaches to. That way I could connect to like Discord, Mixer, and Twitch if I wanted to. But I think... Can we assume that there's only one chat service for this for right now? And put a big fat to-do on that? Eat that pizza? Okay. Welcome. Am I no longer multicasting to Mixer? That is correct. I'm no longer multicasting there. It was not providing enough value for me to continue with the... continue violating my contract with Twitch to be publishing over there. Sending out public messages makes that to-do even bigger, but it's all details. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do this. Gets a value indicating whether local name is lowercase. To-do, delete other to-dos.
Wow.
That's a great idea.
Wow.
I should get right on that.
Make it so.
I will, number one. Okay. Let's do this. Let me put... So, the bot itself maintains a collection of chat services. Where are they? Right there. At this point, I can assume that there's only one. I can assume. I'm going to create a public static method. If it's a static method, I'm not going to be able to reach into that because it's a instance. Ugh. All right, I can't do that. If I create a queue, there we go. Right? If I create a queue, I can push it onto the queue. And when things arrive on the queue, pop it out and go do it. So let's do public static, read only. Not read-only queue. Queue. Oh, let's do it as a concurrent queue. That's a good idea. And what are we passing in? It's going to be, let's make it a tuple of type string string, because it'll be the user to whisper to. Let's put something on this. Username, and then message. I have those backwards, don't I? Right. Did I do my tuple backwards again? I'm thinking of JavaScript. Look at that, Fierce Kittens. I'm thinking of JavaScript. Thank you. Whisper queue. Make that read-only so it isn't created multiple times. Make it a new one of those deals. Thank you so much. Pair programmers helping out. Hey, Veronica. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So I have queue of messages to send to the chat room. All right. So now I should be able... Does concurrent queue have an event on it that we can try peeking? I don't want to sit here with some kind of a timer watching it. Right, I'd love there to be an event that fires that says, oh, I put something in the queue, you need to go and send something. But I feel like I'm going to need to spin up a thread that's watching it. Use subject from RX. Use subject. Observable collection. Oh my gosh, what a good idea. From reactive extensions. Observable collection. Come on, give me... yes. Right? And then is that a generic? Yep. So now if I do string username, string message. Oh, come on. Oh, I didn't give it a name yet. Whisper queue. I completely forgot about observable collections. Thank you. And now I've got that new. Okay. What is my keyboard? There's another question I should put on my Q&A. I actually have it on my blog. This is a Vortex Racer. So there's the keyboard, and there's details about it there on my blog. There it is, Vortex Race 3. So I'm using Cherry Blues. Really cool. I really enjoy this. And I've reprogrammed the caps lock key so that it launches PowerShell. And the function, when I hold down the function key and press up, it launches Firefox. Okay, so I have the observable collection. So now when this starts, right, I should be able to say, okay, so this will drop down into configure cooldown, right? So I should be able to now say, whisper queue, right? And then there's events in there I can attach to, right? Collection changed. Yahtzee! And now I can actually do the send. Can't get it in the UK. Oh, no. Robert Tables has the same keyboard. Yeah. Yeah, there is a series of key combinations that the firmware inside the keyboard knows how to use. and then you can reprogram to call various other keystrokes. So I set caps lock to call, I think it's Windows I or something like that. So, which reminds me, I don't have Karnak running. There we go. Yeah, I never remember them. I actually saved off the manual for it, so I have it hanging around, and I can look it up. So, dancing outside the topic of the current segment with the keyboard segue. Me or Robert Tables? Something like AHK. I'm not familiar with AHK. What's help me out with that acronym. Okay. Me. Oh. Okay. So when the collection changes, I'm going to want to pop off of it one of the items. Right? If there's still items in the collection. I guess we'll we'll also get, right, what other notify, collection action, what are the various add, reset, remove, move or replace. All right, well, so if the action was that something was added, then we'll do something with it. So you know what, let's do this. If it does not equal add, return. Exit early. Subject from system reactive notifies you when something comes into that subject. Really? Oh, if this is a subject from system reactive. I'm okay with this for right now. Let me run with this and let's see if we run into something funny here. So, just keeping me honest with the goals for the stream. Oh, auto hotkey. Thank you, Cyralash. What else? iObservable T is a standard library interface, and subject implements that. Okay. Xtop. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. What is that from? Windows will launch your toolbar apps in that order from left to right. Yes. Yes, it will. What happened to Vasily? Oh, because of the iObservable of T is... it's getting blocked by the widget there. The generics. Okay. Oh, I appreciate that, Hugo. I was slightly tiptoeing outside of it, but it was something that I could get to quickly and show. You're right. All right, let me... So we've got this. It's when it's not adding an object, it'll return. When it does add an object, I'm going to want to get that command to whisper. So let's call this whisper target. And then let's say whisper q dot... I want to DQ. I want to... Well, it's a collection. So I'm going to need to get an item off of it, right? It's because it's an observable collection. So let's get the zero width object. And then remove it, right? I wish I could remove it all in one shot and return it. Removes the first occurrence of the specific object. No. Well, okay, if I say remove whisper target because I've pulled it off. So now it's not on the collection, but it's sitting here. All right, that should work. So now I have the username and I have the message to send. So what I should be able to do is say chat services, send whisper. Here we go. Whisper target. Username, whisper target, message. To do, identify the correct chat service to send across. To send to. So that, all right, so now I've got a way to send those messages out appropriately. I think that covers it. You can subject subscribe, for example, and push items here using subject val. It's mainly pub sub. Observable collection seems to be coming from XAML WPF world. It's another thing. You can't broadcast or multicast it easily. I don't want to. I want a queue that notifies me when an object appears in it. So, all right, so now what I should be able to do then is reference Fritzbot whisper queue from the hub and add stuff to it. Right? Right, I should be able to say Fritzbot whisper queue add. Username message. Right? I can't do it with an event because the bot is referenced by the web project. So I've got an inverse relationship there that is gonna give me fits if I try and track that down. My numbers here below me are not updating the the two bots running at the same time here are kind of colliding. So let's do this. I'm going to cancel that one, and this happens whenever I do development on the bot. It kind of throws things off for just a smidge there. And these should get updated in a second. Okay. Because I'm seeing different numbers in two different places. I want to make sure that everything lines up and makes sense. There we go. Much better. Okay, so that'll add to the queue, right? And doing this, if only Brady Gaster was here. There we go. I'm Beetlejuicing Brady Gaster now. Look at that. Do I have this one? Right? SignalR core, and I want to create methods, right? I want to create a method. I want to make sure I have this correct. That creating that public method on the server. Create and use the hub. And I always get this kind of backwards. Sending message. Right, so that does send, clients send, and then if I want to... No, I think we're okay. Just making it available like that, right? Do I have that right? Hub method name, that was it. Okay. So whisper to user, we should be able to call directly now from our hub connection inside of the Visual Studio extension. So there's the bot. I don't need that page. No. Not the exception. Here's the here we go. So the package, this is the base object inside the Visual Studio extension that boots up and loads up all of our stuff that we need. So when I have a multiple file here, I want to reach into, right, so I have, I believe this is it, my code suggestion proxy. This is what's made the connection to the hub. And I should have a reference to this thing inside the package. Where is it? There it is. There's the proxy right there. Right, so this is effectively a client from Visual Studio that connects to the web server that the bot is sitting behind. Make sense? Did I lose you there, chat? So what I think I need to do, what I'd like to be able to do, is say proxy dot whisper to user, and I want to pass in. Wait a sec. No. So multiple files found. Oh. I've got it right here. Right? I've got it under the code suggestion that was passed. I'm going to go back to the username that sent in the command, and I'm going to say multiple files match that name. Please be more specific in folder / file name notation. Okay, now I need to create this whisper to user method. Yeah, I know. Create that method. So now if I go back over here, username, and let's call this, instead of V, message. So this is the proxy. This is what's connected. And I have a client, this hub connection client. So what I should be able to do, right, underscore client, I want to say invoke async. I'm going to have a... Let me look back over here. This should return a task for the hub methods. So let me go back to the hub real quick. Change this to a task. Even though I'm not... Yeah, here we go. Return task dot completed task. Cool. So invoke async. Method name is whisper to user. Whisper to user. Is that font size okay? Are you folks able to see that all right? I get paranoid about this. And then I thought there were, yeah, here's the arguments to pass in. So our method takes username and message. So I'm just going to pass them along. Username, message. And that should interact and do that appropriately. Now, yeah, I'm going to want to make this a task and make this async. Must have a return. Oops. Just move you over here. That's better. And putting a big old weight on this. Not all code paths return a value. Yeah, I know. Return task completed. Are you kidding? Why won't you do that? It must be void task or task of type T. Why not return await? I could... Yeah, you don't need it with the await. I'm not sure why, though, it's giving me... That doesn't make sense. Let me go back to the package. So over here now, this... Yes, because the call is not awaited, execution continues, blah, 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 blah. So what I need to do, because this is async... Oh my gosh.
We have a new leader.
Crazy 240SX. Thank you so much for that kind cheer. We'll match that and make a donation to Black Girls Code this month. Yes, that puts you in the lead. And I want to make sure I call this out. We are doing this Bits for Bytes drive. If you look below, you'll see information about that. Whoever finishes at the end of the month with the most bits cheered will get to do a pair programming stream with me. This Sunday, our friend Maz is going to pair program with me. She's going to be joining me for our Sunday morning stream. And I'm already in talks with Landon. Landon has some really cool ideas for how to extend stream tools here. We're going to talk about that, and maybe in the next week or two, we will set up and have that stream, and Landon will pair program with us. So thank you so much, Crazy, for the Crazy 240 SX for that kind cheer, and reminding us about this. I'm actually going to add your cheer here. Where was I? Not in that one. Let me find, it wasn't in the hub. It was here. 220. Crazy 240 SX. And today is January 4th, 2019. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, I don't, why isn't... It's a rare day when there's 2 bits in it. I could do task.run over here, but inside the package, where'd it go? There. But Visual Studio is actually going to get a little cranky about that. No. What am I doing wrong here? Your proxy method isn't marked with async. Right. I know this isn't. What I could do also is, right? Oh, no. The whisper to user method. Yeah, it is. Async task. Must be void task or task of type T. It is a task. Oh, you know what? That's not... I need to use tasks. Oh. That's better. Ugh. Now, why is this one? Oh. Right. Oh, no. What have I done? You saw that. It just kind of lurched. 130 extra. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Magoo. This is not the task you're looking for. Yeah, ain't it the truth? Now I should be able to do task.run on this. Now, that is the correct one, but it still doesn't like that. And that's where that extra, right, I should be able to say get awaiter, get result. Yeah, I know it synchronously blocks. I need to. Use await or joinable task factory.run instead. Okay. So let's do that. This was one of the things that Mads was telling us about. Seeing it doesn't like it. Look at that. The system funk. Salty, thank you so much for the follow. You can have the async keyword inside task.run. Well, I need to do it with the joinable task factory. Right? I do have run async as vs task. Ugh. No. I don't want to run it async. Well, if I do it that way, then I'm... No. Run, and it's gonna... It's a func... Oh, this is so confusing to me. Do I need to? Thank you. run synchronously blocks. Yeah, I know. I'm okay with that. All right, so that should now call the whisper to user. And that should run... And it wants me to put the async name in there. Fine. Are you kidding? That's better. All right. I don't want it to run asynchronously. I want it to run synchronously. I want to block processing going any further here until this finishes. And this is not an awaitable method, so I do need to have that run synchronously. I think that's as far as we want to go at this point. And I don't want to write it to the pane if this happens. So I think once this happens, I want to return, actually. I'm done at this point. I think. Let's give this a shot. So I'm going to start the project. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. And... Cool. That's running. All right, so let's start the extension. Here we go. And the task run, right, is a little bit weird in the space of Visual Studio, because Visual Studio has its own task runner. It has its own instance management, which is different. Makes things a little bit strange. All right, so let's open a project. And don't forget, there's also an attention command, right? If we look at the commands here that the chatbot knows. Is it help? There you go. So there's an attention command that you can fire to trigger a sound effect to get my attention. Here we go. Code suggestion from Twitch will appear here. Connected. Good. All right. So now... There we go. There's a command from SQL Mr. Magoo. We should see that pop in here. Come on. Giordano, Linz. Hey, Giordano. Thanks so much for joining us. Is it Linz at the end? Let me know. Try that command one more time. Oh, actually, no. It should have whispered back to you. Did it whisper? Is it doing the whisper? Right? It should hit here. Uh-oh. I don't like that. Oh, no. Because I don't have that loaded. I'm not debugging that. It does work. Woohoo! All right. Thank you, Ancient Coder, for verifying. I think Mr. Magoo may have gotten in just a smidge early. Did you get the whisper? Yes. All right. Maybe add the @ for the user. It shouldn't need to. The bot already knows how to manage and take care of that. But if you were to specify, so the code that we actually have here inside of this Visual Studio, why isn't it showing me that Visual Studio? It's weird saying this Visual Studio referring to several Visual Studios. Yeah, this is a problem. So the other Visual Studio is not allowing me to interact with it. Yeah. Sweet Disaster. Thank you for the follow. So that the user who made the suggestion knows who the message is, knows the message is for them. Well, it's doing a whisper. So it is for them. They're getting it. It's being sent directly to them. This looks like it's blocking right now. Right, if I pause, it's hanging on this method right now. That's a problem. You know? That's going to be a problem. That it's... Let me put a breakpoint there again. Let's rerun this and take another look-see at this. I agree with you, Hugo. If it was a public message, makes sense. But it's a whisper right now, and eventually we're going to end up putting a Twitch extension in front of this, so you have a full text editor in front of you. Yeah, there you go. Now, Ancient Coder copied in the message so that you could see what it was. Friday that feels like a Monday. I know that feeling all too well this week. It feels weird coming back from the holiday with the holiday and the New Year holiday in the middle of the week like this. All right, so that's going to finish booting up here. Live share, yeah. Yeah. Code suggestions. There we go, connected. Should you try Joinable Task Factory Run Async? I may need to. All right. So now if we take one of those suggestions. Right, so now I've got Joinable Task Factory Run. Yeah, it never gets to the return. Right, whisper to user async. It says client invoke async. Well, that should finish. Right? If I hit that again. Yeah, I'm kind of clobbered at this point. I think you might be right here. So let me go back to the package. So instead of run, if we do the run async, which is awaitable, but so then if I do async here, now why is it insert await? Yeah, now it, can I do that? Oh, it looks like I can. All right, let's give that another shot then. It didn't like the Wii. So, yeah, we hit a deadlock. Yeah, we didn't put the await in here either. You're right. I need to get better with async await. I really, really do. Thanks for the catch, Steve. Thank you very, very much. Points to you. There you go. I'm not sure what you can do with points, but you've got points now. They're pointless. Is that a thing? All right. Load the project. Still prefer promises over async await. That's a JavaScript thing. I prefer the old asynchronous launching of things, which means, yeah, it's an old school API, and async await does short circuit a lot of the iAsync callbacks. Yeah, it does short circuit a lot of the spaghetti code that asynchronous methods created inside of our projects. Panic Crisis, thank you for the follow. threading and synchronous, two different things. Boogie Wagon, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us as well. All right, let's try sending in another message here and see what we get to happen. So whisper to the user. And that's sure running. Okay. Did it ever release from the package? Where is it? I never got to the return here. Thank Aaron and Cincy. Thanks so much for using your Twitch Prime subscription here. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I'll match that and make a donation to Black Girls Code. Thank you so much, Watt. So much for that subscription. Been a while? Yeah, it's great to see you, Aaron. Thanks so much. Is that Sin Dev? Hello, welcome. Thank you for hopping in the chat room here. Let me try sending another command there and see if we can get that to... It's not triggering. Yeah, I'm not getting it to get all the way through to us here. Right? If I run that command again, it's not hitting the breakpoint. So I think we've once again hit Deadlockville. Is that a place? Deadlockville? I guess. So running this asynchronously, right? I didn't even see it get to here. Let me stop and reload. Let's see if we can figure this out. So I'm going to take the break off there and I'll leave it on this async invoke of the method that we're trying to actually call out on the server. Yeah, it is a great use of Twitch Prime. Yes, absolutely. Parathon has a suggestion. Is it possible I'm losing an error in the async? Can't I just await the proxy whisper call? It awaits all the way down. Oh, forget. Well, maybe. Let me get to your comment there in just a second while this is loading. Been working on an HTML5 video player with full support for the most complex subtitle format in the world for the past 5 years now. Nearing the point where the subtitle renderer, but I need to finish the rest of the player. Well, good luck to you, Sindev. You're awaiting it now, but inside another async. Yeah, we should just pass that all the way back, I think. Right? So let me try passing the command in. Yeah, now I'm back in Deadlockville. Oh, well, no. Here it is. So it's doing the invoke async. And I got the whisper. Okay. And this is still active and running. If I run the command again, dead. Yeah. All right, so let's back up. Maybe we've got too many asyncs and awaits going on here. So this is awaiting inside of this async method. Ugh. I feel like I should just return this. Right? This returns a task. Let's just return this up. And if we go back to the package, right? So this is... It's awaiting the async await of this. Is that what I want? Try that one more time. See what happens this time. Who do we got there? Sulieth. thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us here this morning on this Friday. Where did my mouse go? There it is. Open the project. I wish there was a way to test this a little bit easier. You know? Gosh. Get it loaded, load in the stuff, doing the thing, backing up. Okay, got it. All right, now let's try that code. And there we are, invoke async. I still have control over here. We're still in fine shape, and I got the whisper. Try it again, and no dice. I'd love to know where it stopped. You know? This, right, this return, right, should be the thing. Yeah, you're locked up. It's not even hitting here. It gets that first, and then it stops behaving. The other catch. The other catch? Well, I'm not rethrowing. I could rethrow. What if I rethrew? Would that do anything? It would break this if I rethrew. I don't want to rethrow. It's still in the task factory. Do you need to return a task? That's probably better. Instead of awaiting. Oh, rats. So let's get rid of this. And if we just return it, now we might be in better shape because it's running asynchronously. I hate feeling like async await is very it's very hit and miss for me, right? I know what it's supposed to be doing, but the connections of these things just isn't. It's not something that I'm visualizing yet, and I struggle with. Async await in UI is always tricky. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Get this open. Come on. Open up. Open. And then. Okay.
60% of the time, it works every time.
And let's see if it works this time. Could it be added like comment to that line in squiggle highlight? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Let's try this. Oh, crumbs. I didn't even get to... Okay, there's the invoke. Oh, look at that. Cool down. Ooh. If we could get on the 60% side of things. We're almost there. Almost there. It didn't hit that return, though. Right? I returned this. Right? But it never got here. 90% of the way to 60% of the time. Yeah, something like that. All right. Let me close that. I got the multiple files message. If I run it a second time, didn't get it the second time, and it didn't invoke it. Add a breakpoint to on every catch clause. Really? I don't think we're there. was that? Okay. Right, it's not even getting to this return. It runs, right? It's calling this run async on this. If I made right, if I made this just run, yeah. Cannot await void. Is it hitting line 1, 2, 3? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is, because it's coming back with the multiple files not found, multiple files found exception. It's hitting here. That I need to get rid of. Yeah. Let me see what that does now, because it's running the task. Hey, Veronica. Yeah. Yeah. At some point it needs to go synchronous here. So telling the task factory, go run this, and then tell me when it's done, should be the right way to go, I think. But it is hitting. Hello? All right. Recent projects. Console app. Here we go. Do we need to do a join? Suggests Steve. Could be. Could be. Let's see what we get here. And see, the attention command didn't even work there. Why didn't the attention command work? It didn't even hear it and respond. Oh, there's a bunch of errors being thrown over here. All right, that's because I'm running 2 bots right now. That's why the attention command didn't happen. All right. Await task scheduler default to get off the main UI thread. Maybe. Let me try the command. All right, so it's locating the project, invoke async, whisper to user. It didn't hit this return. No, it's sending the command back to the bot that it's talking to. At a breakpoint on 135 as well. Sure, I can do that. It hasn't gotten to this return. It fired this line. Actually, it fired... Yeah, stop it. It fired this and did the whisper, and then nothing else. It's not responding after it. So... I don't know. Task scheduler default. If we did, not task scheduler, right up here we did, right. If we tried to switch back off with this thread helper that's inside of Visual Studio. Thread helper. Right, it's joinable task factory switch to. So if I go joinable task factory and try to switch off. No. No, there's the. I'm already on the main thread. Right, run should run it off of the thread, while synchronously blocking the calling thread. Are we hitting 130? Yes. Yes, we are hitting that. this. The plot thickens. Right, so that's running. It's doing its thing. Recent projects. Go to the... So we load and get connected. Come on. We're like right there. Yes, we are hitting the whisper to user async. Yes. So I do have, right, this proxy whisper to user async. I have a breakpoint here. It does do this, and it returns that task. But are we exiting? So there's that. Let me go back to the proxy. Right, exiting, we'd be hitting 96. So there's that. So client invoke async. And then, so we've exited whisper to user async. And poof. Poof. We haven't hit this return method. So we did have the await in there. Right, I did have run async. Right, because this call is not awaited, execution of the current method continues before the call is completed. That might be okay. Right, so it's going to run it and kick it off on a background thread. So we might be okay with that not coming back directly. Right, let that other thread go do its thing. It's got the information it needs. Should be okay. Let's see what happens. What do we got? What do we got? Come on, give me the things. All right. There's live share. Yeah. There's my chat suggestions. Good. Sending in the command. And then. All right. I'm going to turn this one off. We know that one happens. Run it. There's the return. I don't need this line. I know that that's hitting. Bang. I hit that return. And I got my multiple files message. Let me send it again. We got it. So let me turn those off. Let me leave on just the return. Let's do that. Not this, not that, not this. Right? And I'm still navigating around over here and I'm okay. If I send the command again, there's the invoke async to send the message, to send the whisper back. And I've got the whisper. All right. I think we've got it. Cool. Anybody else want to try that to verify that it's coming back and presenting properly? Because I think it is doing appropriately the behavior. Let me know what you see, Hugo and Brave Cobra. So .run with the async and await. Well, .run wasn't awaitable. So, right, you should be seeing the message appropriately being sent to you now. Right? No whisper. Really? You're not seeing. Let me put a breakpoint there. Sending to aspiring DevOps, multiple files match. There you go. Okay, Hugo might be seeing an issue. There's Janescu. Test Farb. Test Farb. And there's Brave Cobra. There it's trying to send a message to him. There we go. Oh yeah, it might depend. Good call, Veronica. If some people may have Whisper set up where it doesn't accept messages from folks. Receive 2 messages. Yes. So the other bot that's running, right? Because there's 2 bots running right now. There you go. So yeah, you'll see a second message. So what I'm looking at doing then, now that I can whisper back, there we go, from Mr. Magoo to test program CS, because it found that file, it gave me the string foo. It still didn't populate the project or the file name here appropriately. But that's, I think, the next step. I think we've gotten now, it identifies the file properly when you do give it the appropriate folder syntax. We just need to go through that last little bit. Yeah, that unknown command came from the production Fritz bot on that one. Because there's 2 bots listening. There's 1 bot in the chat room, but there's actually 2 services listening. Maybe enhancement in the future is to tell the live bot to sleep while the debug bot is running. That's a good idea, Parathon. Sorry. Let's do this then. There we go. Another one to Brave Cobra. I'm going to stop the bot. Stop. Can't stop the bot. Can't stop. I didn't change bar. Yeah, didn't change that. No need to change. You'll create an issue. Actually, you know what? Parathon, let's see if we can drop that in right now, and then I can deploy this version of the bot so that next time it knows how to work with code and we can start doing a little bit more down that path. So the challenge is to be able to put the bot into debug mode. Still no whisper? It sent the whisper. Well, I just shut it off, but... so let's do this. I'm going to stop the production one. Just double check. We're good. Okay. So... how do we tell the bot to go into debug mode? I feel like that needs to be another command that when the bot hears it goes into a mode where it's, and I want to address a specific bot. Run, kill all 9 Fritz bot. Steve. I'm gonna kill that one from orbit. No. I got it. We'll, no, not there. I've got another one.
Inconceivable!
Get out of here, Fritz bot. So I've only got the one running. All right, I'll kill that one. So now I don't have any bot running in the chat room. So when I want to put the bot in debug mode, I want to put I need to address the one bot to put it into debug mode before I start the second. Does the IRC announce when multiple people join with the same name? No, I don't think so. Hey, you got the message. Fantastic. Whispers in the Twitch app, I've had issues with. It's been kind of weird. But yeah. So the bot, I want to basically tell it ignore all commands when it's in debug mode. So what if I just add a private property here? No, make it an internal. Internal. Oh, I don't want to make it static. And do the commands have reference back up? So here's like the ping command. It has reference to the chat service. Let me go back to the live code command. Does this have a reference as a reference to the chat service, not to the bot? Right, because I almost want to reach up to the... Gotta go. All right, thanks for stopping by, Sequel, Mr. Magoo. Thanks for joining us. I want to reach up to the bot and tell it. There, it's receiving configuration. Right, I want to set a property on the bot that says, okay, you're in debug mode now. Let's do this. So let's call this debug mode command. Let's see if we can just put something together real quick here. And this is a, let's call it basic command 2, because we created a second interface for this. Trigger, description, cooldown, execute, chat service, username is moderator, is broadcaster, read-only memory. And then the other execute. Oh, ooh, that feels good. Okay, so for things like the help command, right, the trigger is help. For this, the trigger will be debug. Description allows the broadcaster to put the bot in debug mode, which disables all command processing. And Twitch queries. No. Yeah, it disables all command processing. Yeah. Cooldown. I'm going to make that. There is no cooldown because it's a broadcaster command. If not, is broadcaster return? And let's return execute chat service username RHS. There is no RHS. Task.completed task. Done. All right, so down here, I think I do want to make it an internal static. That means I got the chat open in 3 places. Ooh. So let's make this an internal static property. Debug mode. Bool debug mode. Is the bot in debug mode and should not process commands other than debug. And let's start that off in false. So then when I do command processing, command processing, configure command, register commands, start async. On chat message, here we go. That's weird. On chat, chat message, process chat message. Okay, so we have a user key, handle basic commands. If we cannot if we cannot handle it. And then handle extended commands. I feel like I need to put a special scenario in right here. Yeah. Handle debug mode. If debug mode perhaps a descriptor like is debugging. Debug mode to me sounds like an enum of options. Oh, good point. Is debugging. I think that works. All right, so then I can change this to if is debugging. Well, the command that's coming in is, well, it's going to be here under handle basic commands. Right, it's the message. If eMessage, yeah, let's say, and eMessage does not equal debug, right? Return. So that should shut it off. Eldon Helja. Any experience releasing software, how to deal with Windows Smart Screen appearing every time someone downloads a setup file? You need a certificate. Yep, Windows Smart Screen requires a certificate. Buy a certificate, use it to sign your install, and that'll get you through there. There's not really any way around that. They did that on purpose. You can upload it to the store, and that'll get around it as well. True, false, very true, super false. Steve.
You're about to get a serious beatdown.
I don't know. You took Boolean just a little bit farther. All right, so that's our debug mode exception. There's the other thing that I want to do and that you see happening is that means this will also stop the attention command. Not, I guess it's all right. Let me see. I also would want to stop. It's not doing anything now, but it's still marked as handled. But it is still marked as handled. Almost need feature flags for the bot. That's not a bad idea either. It's well, it's not really marked as handled, right? Return task, complete a task. Yeah. Right, because when each one of these commands finishes, if there's an after execute, right, when the basic command, why isn't that? Is an async method, whatever, fine. Don't need that, okay? Yeah, we are handled. Right, because when basic commands finishes and it's done here, it returns a true or a false, which it doesn't actually do anything with. Right? Down here. It determines whether or not to send that whisper of unknown. Yeah, it's just not going to send a message. How will debug bot not get is debugging set as well? So both will ignore. So you turn it off before you start the second one. It should only ever actually set is debugging if it's not built in debug. Ooh. Ooh. I need to be able to turn it off. Turn it on and off. It's like an empty catch. It is. Yeah. Rather than a global... Hang on. Yeah, call it sleep mode. That's another good way to put it. Let's call it sleep mode. I think... I like that better. That's much better. I definitely like that name better. Sleep mode. And then change this to sleep. In sleep mode, which disables all command processing. Right? Right, so here I want to say fritzbot. Right? Why doesn't it know what that is? Wait, what? Oh, okay. And it's not going to be is... I'll use the is debugging now so that I can rename it. And I'm just going to flip it. Right? Now you can have an enum. No. No. Yeah, naming things can be hard. Especially if you've got a kid with a last name of Tables. Wait, what? Let's rename the file to... Let's just call it sleep command. And then I also need... I feel like I should whisper back. Bot is now in... Is now... is now set to sleep mode, and then the actual fritzbot is, and then we'll, right, so you get some information about it. Make this like that, and then I can await, and then get rid of that. Username. Thank you. Which means that that's fine. Cool. I think we got it. Can bots dream? Looking for a VPN. Ooh, that's a good question too. I don't know. So let me change this. Where was it? Let's rename this to is sleeping. Right, and then the check down here. Let's do this to make this a little bit clearer. Internal const string no. That feels stupid. Right? And I can't make this static and still implement the... Yeah. I could do something like that, which feels weird, but gives me that capability. It's the trigger, yeah. Right, but if I make that a static, right, public static string, I'm not satisfying the command. Okay, so that should put it into sleep mode appropriately, and looks like all my tests continue to pass. Yeah, it's the one that doesn't work while we're not streaming. Yep, that's fine. Why does iBasic command 2 not have the trigger text in it? It does. It does. Because it inherits from iBasic command. So we've actually got both sitting there. I think we're in a okay place with that, where it'll sleep now appropriately when we give it the sleep command and not process, so we won't get double processing. The last little bit of that would be great. So another thing that happens when we've got two bots running is that the numbers processing down below here, we end up overflowing the requests. But I feel like that's a problem with the configuration that's requesting that. So if I look at app settings, right, the frequency that this goes and queries the service, right, because it ends up querying, right, watch followers. Every 10 seconds it goes and updates the followers. And watch viewers, right, this comes back every 5 seconds, and it ends up overflowing the request buffer there. Right, Twitch flags me as you're making too many requests. This should probably be a configuration that I pass in and make it really long on the debug one. All right. So maybe we can make that a configuration later. But this should now be able to sleep, and I should be able to push that information into my local running bot. So let's just make sure that that runs. We'll commit, build, deploy the bot, and then the bot will be sitting out here able to listen to code for next time. Where's the unit test? Oh, don't give me that. Oh.
What'd you do?
Don't ask me about the unit test. We need a unit test, okay? I get it. There we go. All right. So now I should be able to tell it sleep, and it'll stop listening. Message received from me. The bot whispered back, bot is now set to sleep mode true. So now if we try to do anything against the bot, any type of command like help, it should not do anything. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That actually worked properly. But now if I go sleep again, I get a message back. Sleep mode set to false, and I should be able to run help this time. And now get the commands. Fantastic. And Hugo should not get the sleep command. Right, Hugo, that didn't work for you? Right, it should have shown that it sent the message back to me. No, it didn't show that it whispered it. And Brave Cobra was able to run help. Yep, nothing. So let's do this. Let's not just return here. Let's do something like this. And let's say this is a broadcaster only command. Yeah. So I need to mark this async now. And now we can do that. Snowpiercer. Hello. Need to filter sleep from help. I think not just filter it from help, but somehow indicate it. Yeah. Yeah. Let me go up to the bot. Let's find help. Where is not null or empty, the trigger select for the list of available commands. And c.trigger does not equal sleep. I feel like there needs to be a moderator only list we're going to need to filter out. But I think that'll take care of that one. So it doesn't appear in the help list. Let me kick this off. Oh no! Since sleep command execute is an async method. Oh no. What did I break? So because I've got the await in here now, I don't need that. Oh, okay, I can await that here, and we're good. One more time, give it a shot. Need to start adding authentication on commands. Yes. Well, there isn't really authentication per se, but you're either a moderator or a VIP or the broadcaster. I've already got your authorization, your authentication. Yes. Authorization. Yes. Yes, yes. Yep. Completely agreed. Right, so now if I run help, sleep is not in the list. Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. Let's add all the things. Where am I? Go up one. Added sleep command and now whispering back when multiple files match. Yeah. Yes, I got it right. Let's tag that and build. What tags do I have? Where did I leave off? 153. So this will be 154. This will be the real one. Yep, there we go. Bot down. Yeah, right. Both methods. No need to async await. Can simply return the task. In code suggestions, yes, we'll be able to do that in just a second. Come on, Docker build. 99 bots. Yeah. We went a little bit longer than I expected today here, but let's let's get this thing delivered and we'll call it a day. Come on. There we go. Feeling good. Feeling good. Yep, installing all the things. Robert Tables really likes Docker, huh? No reference exception bots on the wall.
You can do it!
Come on, Docker. Come on. Build that thing. Shouldn't I return that inside of not is broadcaster? What do you mean? What do you mean, Andre? What do we got? So I am... It'll still go for the execute next. Oh, crap, you're right. Crap. Good catch. Great catch. Oh my gosh. Now wait, why didn't it see that? I didn't do the dash A. Now we got it. So now let me rebuild 154. Ugh. There we go. Now I wanted to merge and amend and overwrite the previous. I hadn't pushed it yet. So we're okay to return there. Send the whisper and then return. We're good. Come on, come on. And... all right. So I'm going to push. And I should be able to restart and have the new widget running here locally. There it goes. Does it now point to an orphaned commit? Nope, because I... let me... oh. I see what you're saying. I can force that tag, right? Git tag... where'd it go? V154. And now git push tags. Got it. All right. Estranged TM, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Now it doesn't point to an orphan tag. Now we're an orphan commit. Now we're in better shape. And there are all of our numbers updated. Everything got back up to speed. We are 4713. Man, 187 from the beard? From dyeing that beard? Use the force. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got done a lot here today. Let's wrap up. What do you say? 287. 287? Yeah. All right. So we did a lot. We looked a little bit at how Docker and database can allow you to create... Docker with a database can allow you to create a kind of an immutable database that you can have hanging out there as an image, and wreck it, after you break it in your testing and in your development. Just knock it down and restart it, and you're up and running with the same test data every time. That's kind of cool. Now, we did some more work on our Visual Studio Code Suggestions project, and I think we've got a real nice interaction now where we can whisper back to folks that suggest code to us, and we've deployed that to our production bot. This is great because this means now I can actually install the extension in my real version of Visual Studio, and next time you'll be able to send code suggestions to me every time. I'd love to have 500,000 followers next time, Aspiring DevOps Guru. Tell all your friends, tell your families, tell your pets, sign up with Twitch, and let's get me over that 5,000 number in followers. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm more than happy to dye this beard for you, our pair programmer fans hanging out there. Let's see who's out there streaming right now in the science and technology category. I'm willing to bet is our friend Brian Clark streaming? Is he? He sure is. I'll tell you what, I think we will throw a raid over to Mr. Clark.io, who's working on actually a similar extension for Visual Studio Code that's highlighting some lines for him inside of VS Code. So let's let him know that the raid is coming. If you want to join the raid, all you have to do is sit right back, and in just a few seconds we'll head over there. This video will be available, like all my other videos, a little bit later today on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you come back on Sunday morning. I'll be pair programming with my guest, Moz TS. She's one of our pair programmers, one of our viewers. She won our Bits for Bytes in November, and we'll be pair programming with her. Friday next week, Dave Glick from Discover.net will be joining us. I hope you come back Thursday next week. Dave will be joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good time. Say hi to Brian Clark for me. Drop those .NET bots for me when you get over there and see them. Take care.